Hello Math 8 students. This video is going to be exploring triangle sum theorem using the TI Nspire calculators. To get started, we're going to create a new document. This type of document is option 3, a geometry page. So we're going to add a geometry page here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add a triangle. Since we're exploring triangle sum theorem, I'm going to add a triangle. That's going to be menu, option 5 shapes, and option 2 triangle. As I create my triangle, it's different than that polygon tool that we used last time because this triangle tool is going to stop you at those 3 points. I have my settings so that it is labeling the points automatically, and it still thinks I'm in triangle mode, so I'm going to escape out of that so that it will no longer try and create triangles. You can move points of your triangle if you don't like the way that it looks. If you want to change it, you can also move the entire triangle by pressing and holding and then moving that around. It's fine where it is in the middle of the screen. What we need to do now is we need to measure the angles that are already there. So when we measure an angle, the first thing that you need to understand about an angle is that there are 3 points that make an angle, 3 points that will define it. And this is what I mean. If I'm going to draw an angle, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to draw to here, and then draw to here. Notice those 3 points that help to define that angle. Now, the angle we're talking about is actually how far open it is right here, but the points that define it are any point on this line, but I'm going to choose this end one, this vertex of the angle, and then this final point here. So in the calculators, when it's asking to measure the angle, it's going to say, okay, define the 3 points that will measure that angle. So here's the angle I want to measure. I'm going to click here, and then click here, and it will define and trace that angle and then measure how much it opens. So the next step is measuring those angles, menu, option 6 measurement, and option 4 angle. What I'm going to do now, if I want to measure angle A, look at the 3 points that define angle A, B, then to A, and then to C. So as I'm measuring that angle, B to A to C, and you can see that it placed that measurement right there. I'm going to continue on with that same process. I want to measure C and B. To measure C, yes, C is the vertex, but in order to define or trace out that angle, I start at A, go to C, the vertex, and then go to B to define that angle. And again, you can see it places that measurement there. The next step, C to B to A defines angle B, and that measurement is there. We're still in angle measurement tool, so I'm going to hit escape. And now this is just kind of annoying to me. I don't like it when they overlap. I can't see what's what, so I'm just going to move those measurements out to the outsides. This, when I do that, I'm pressing and holding until it grabs it, and then I can move it to wherever I want. The labels, I'm going to go ahead and place on the insides, and those measurements on the outsides. So there we go. All right, here's what's really cool about this, is all of this is very dynamic. So when I move this, you can see that it remeasures all of those angles. So the point that we're trying to explore here now is the triangle sum theorem. So what happens when I add all of these up? Now, to really truly demonstrate this, I want to show you this really cool feature. What we're going to do is we're going to create an expression that will be calculated. So the steps now are menu, option 1 actions, and we're going to create some text. This will create a text box, and in that text box, I'm going to create the expression that I want it to calculate. I'm just going to type in A plus B. Hit enter, and now we have this text box, which really is an expression. Here's the next step. Menu, actions. This time we're going to go to option 8, calculate. And here in this feature, it says click on the expression, then click each value when we're prompted. So this is the expression I want to calculate, is A plus B. So now it says, okay, select A. What do we want to be A? Obviously, I want A to be angle A. So click that. And as soon as I click it, it says, okay, what do you want to be B? I'm going to come over here to angle B and click on that. And then it gives me that sum. It's added it together and it's given me that sum. I'm just going to come over here and click to place it. And then I'm done. I'm still in that text or the calculate creation. I'm going to escape so I can show you what's pretty cool about this. So again, it's adding A and B. When I change these angles, notice that it remeasures the angles, and as it remeasures the angles, it also recalculates that sum. So it's pretty cool. Any changes that you make are all going to be affected everywhere else. Okay. I don't really want to know what a plus b is. I really want to know what a plus b plus c is, all the sum of all of the angles. But the reason I show you this is so that when we do a plus b plus c, you'll be able to understand what's still happening. So let's do that now. We're going to go to Menu, Actions. We're going to create another text box. This time the text box is going to be not just a plus b, but a plus b plus c. Press Enter. And go through that same process again. Menu, Action, we're going to calculate. This time we're going to calculate a plus b plus c. Here's the expression I'm going to calculate. It's asking what is A? A is going to be angle A. What is B? Angle B. And what is C? There's angle C. Again, it adds them all up together, gives me that number, and I'm just going to lock that number in place right here. So again, here's the reason why I had us do a plus b first. As I make these changes, let me hit escape so it's no longer in that mode. As I make these changes and it remeasures, notice that it's also recalculating. We're seeing it recalculate here because that sum is changing. But as I remeasure and recalculate a plus b plus c, all three of these, that sum is not changing because no matter what that triangle looks like, it is always going to add up to 180 degrees. In our lesson, we had an Are You Ready for More where it talked about what do you think it's going to be like for a quadrilateral? Make a guess. For any sort of quadrilateral, is there going to be any sort of pattern into what they add up to be when I add up all of those angles? Let's explore that with our calculator as well. So I'm going to add a new page. Control, Doc, adding a page. It's still going to be a geometry page. This time I'm going to create a quadrilateral. So Menu, Shapes. Don't choose rectangle. A rectangle is too rigid. I don't want to be stuck with just a rectangle. I want it to be a quadrilateral. That means I'm going to choose a polygon, but I'm going to make sure it's just a four-sided figure. And back to A to close up that polygon. I'm going to hit escape because I'm still in polygon creation. Now I've got this beautiful quadrilateral, okay, and we're going to go through the same process again. We are going to measure all of those angles. This time, because of the type of figure that this is, as I make certain changes, it is going to do some interesting things. So when I measured these angles, I'm going to go Menu, Measurement. I'm going to do a directed angle. That means I always want to be measuring this side of the angle. B to A to D, it's going to measure this side of the angle. A to D to E, and it's always going to measure that angle. Continuing on, so I have measurements for all of these. I'm going to measure that part there. And C to B to A, I've got all of my measurements in place. I'm going to hit escape, and then just so that I can see them all, I'm going to go ahead and move those text so that I can see the measurements and see the labels. All right, there we have it. So we've measured all of our angles. Let's figure out what they add up to be. So Menu, Actions, Text. This time I'm going to add up A, B, C, and D. So my text is going to be A plus B plus C plus D. Hit Enter. And now it's time to calculate. Menu, Actions, Option A is Calculate. We're going to calculate this expression. What's A? This angle. What's B? This one. What's C? This one. And what's D? This one. That number is already calculated. I'm just going to place it right there. So again, this is dynamic. So as I remeasure, as I make these changes, everything is going to change, including the sum. So let's adjust these angles. You can see it's remeasuring those angles, but notice that that sum is not adjusting. So I think it's safe to come to the conclusion then that A plus B plus C plus D is going to be equal to 360 degrees. Now, just a quick explanation. I have created the same thing, only I did not do, let's go back to that measurement, I did not do the directed angle, I did the regular angle. Okay, and here's the reason why that directed angle is important. When I adjust this this quadrilateral to be a certain type of quadrilateral, where I've now pushed it in like this is still a quadrilateral, it still has four sides. but it is called a concave polygon because we've got this part here where it kind of comes inside of its own interior. So again, this is a convex where the inside is its own inside, but as I kind of pull this in, you can see that here's the inside. This part that would normally be part of the inside is actually on the outside. That's what makes it a concave quadrilateral. And notice what happened as I moved that. So right now it's measuring inside angle, inside, inside, inside. And as soon as I turn it into a concave polygon, now the angle that it's measuring is on the outside. So we're not going to get that nice 360 sum like we should. Here, if I make that same sort of change, it automatically accounts for that. Let me expand this so that you can see it's still measuring this angle on the inside. And so that directed angle allows us to make any change that we want to that polygon and still calculate the correct angle. Here, it's going to calculate the incorrect angle. It's going to calculate the one on the outside. So that's why that directed angle measurement is really important. So now the question remains, why is it 360? We added just one single side, one single angle from a triangle to a quadrilateral, and it jumps 180 degrees. That seems like a big jump. Why is that happening? So I want to explore what a quadrilateral is. If I didn't add this fourth point here, we would have this shape right here, right? We would have that triangle. And as we already know, all of these angles are going to add up to 180 degrees, right? This angle here is 180 degrees. This is a piece of an angle. This is a piece of an angle, right? But as we're looking at the triangle, those will form 180 degrees. But look over here. We have another triangle. Here's the rest of angle A. Here's the rest of angle C and all of angle D. But again, we've got another triangle, and the other triangle also will add up to 180 degrees when I add up all of those angles. So what happens when I add up all of these? Again, I have all of B here, all of D here, A broken up into two pieces, C broken up into two pieces, but I add up those measurements and I have 180 degrees plus another 180 degrees is equal to 360 degrees. So it makes sense when we really stop to think about it. With that in mind, I want you to think about higher order polygons. Start with a pentagon, a five-sided figure. How many, or what is going to be the sum when I add up all of those angle measurements? Pentagon, five-sided figure, make your prediction, pause the recording, make your prediction, and then we'll explore it in the TI Nspire. All right, let's add a new page and let's explore with a five-sided figure now. So Control Dock is going to add a page, a geometry page again, and we're going to add a five-sided figure, a polygon. So Menu, Shapes, Polygon. We're going to stop at 5 sides. Close it up. There's our five-sided figure. We're going to measure these angles again. Again, I encourage the directed angle. So option 6, directed angle. I'm going to measure angle A, so that's going to be B to A to E. E is A to E to D. E to D to C. And continuing on in that process. I've got all of my measurements. Just going to move them around so that I can actually see what they are. It's being kind of finicky. I thinks I'm trying to select the polygon or the point. I really want the text. I'm just going to move that text on the outside, and this label will swing to the inside. So text on the outside and this label on the inside. Text outside. That way I can see everything here. There we go. Again, know that this is dynamic. Every time I make a change, it's going to remeasure. Even if I turn this into a concave polygon, you can see it's keeping this interior angle as the one that it's measuring. All right, let's do our text and our calculation. Menu actions. We're going to do A plus B plus C plus D plus E this time. And now let's calculate it. Let's test out your prediction. I want to calculate this expression with this as A, B, C, D, and E. Looks like that sum is 540 degrees, even as I make these changes, even as I turn it into a concave polygon. you can see that that sum stays the same, 540 degrees. Again, let's look at why. Why does this happen? Here I've got two different pentagons. You can see in both of them, the sum of all the angles was 540 degrees. Why? Always go back to the triangle. I'm just going to start here at A. Let's split this up. We can see that A to C is a diagonal, and when I break it up that way, you can see that we have a triangle here. What do we know about triangles? Those angles will add up to 180 degrees. But we're not done. Let's split it up again. From A to D, another diagonal, and we can see, once again, we've created another triangle, and I know that this triangle, without measuring, I know that this triangle, those angles are going to add up to 180 degrees. In the process, it also created this third triangle, which I know is going to add to 180 degrees. So again, let's focus on this. All of E is right here in this triangle, right? We have this part of E that's going to be part of this, not E, this part of this purple triangle, and this part of this purple triangle. Those are going to add up to 180 degrees along with E. But that's not all of angle D. The rest of angle D is right here. Some more of angle A is right here, and some of angle C is right here. So even though I don't have the whole parts of all of these angles, I do know that this piece, and this piece will sum up to 180 degrees. Here is all of angle B. Here's the rest of angle A and the rest of angle C. So in that process, I have all of angle C measured, all of angle D measured, all of angle A measured, E is measured, and B is measured. And so what do I have? 180 degrees here, 180 here, and 180 degrees here. In short, we can break up any polygon into triangles and figure out how many triangles there are, knowing each one of those triangles is going to add up to 180 degrees, and then we have our sum for the entire polygon. The same thing is going to work here, even if I make it a weird sort of concave polygon. Notice that I can still break this up into a triangle here, and this is a quadrilateral now that I can break up into another triangle. So we still are going to have that same thing happening, an angle, part of an angle, the rest of that angle, part of an angle, that's going to be 180 degrees. Part of the angle, the rest of C and part of D, that's going to be 180 degrees. And the rest of D, the rest of A, and all of E, another 180 degrees. With that in mind, let's make some predictions. What do you think it's going to be for a hexagon? That's it for this video. Triangle sum theorem, as well as higher order polygons, the sums of those angles. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.